We got a comment not too long ago from someone who's obviously had never watched our videos before, and this was his first video. And all he said was, why don't you get a real house?
Well, and we've had a lot of people asking who have been following us for a while and everything, wondering if now that we're not in such a financial crisis anymore, are we ever planning on just going ahead and moving into a bigger place?
Or whether we're going to stay here in this tiny place.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Tiny House Prepper.
Hey everybody, I'm Bill.
And I'm Elizabeth with Tiny House Prepper, and this is Leo.
Yep, hi Leo. So the question is, why do we live tiny? Why do we still live tiny?
Yeah.
We have the money now to be able to rent or buy something new. If you know our story, you know that we ended up in this little place after we lost our business and lost all of our rental properties, and this is all we could afford.
And that was from the crash in 2008 and all the repercussions afterwards.
Right, we almost ended up on the street because of losing all of that. But now we're reestablished again. Our finances are back in place. And so people are wondering, are you going to continue to live tiny? Or are you going to buy something bigger? We certainly could. We could go out and buy something bigger. So why do we continue to live tiny? We are going to stay here. So why are we doing that?
And if you're not real familiar with us at all, this is a renovated RV on a permanent foundation on a little teeny piece of land that we do own. And it's about 250 square feet. We do have a little sunroom out there that adds more, but it's only usable when the weather's really nice. Right now it's really cold out there.
And technically this isn't a tiny house. Technically it's an RV, a 32-foot RV. But that's not what this is about. It's about living tiny, and we certainly do, don't we?
Yeah, people live in very small spaces in a lot of different ways.
So why are we going to continue to live tiny? When we first started this channel, for about the first 50 videos or so, our little animated intro at the end of it had our motto, which was live simple, live free.
Yes, live simple, live free.
And that's still our motto. But we had to stop using it because there was another company who actually trademarked that saying, so we're not allowed to use it anymore.
Yep, they trademarked our saying.
But anyway, it's really true. Live simple, live free.
Right.
See, we are free from financial bondage because we have decided to stay here in this tiny place. But we'll talk about that in a minute. There are some other benefits as well. For one, I only spend a fraction of the time that I used to mowing the lawn or shoveling the driveway, that sort of thing. Now, we could put this place on a much bigger property and then I'd have to deal with all that. But with this small place, it's very easy to have it on a tiny little piece of property, and I don't spend much time mowing and all that anymore.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure we could even move this place, but people do live in very tiny houses on large pieces of land. But we do happen to be on a very small little piece of land here that we do own, and it's a whole lot less maintenance as far as mowing and snow removal and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot less maintenance on the house, just in general, because it's not as big.
Well, and if anything does need to be done, it doesn't cost that much.
Mm-hmm.
We were laughing earlier that if I decided I would like to repaint the living room, we could probably get a pint of paint,
Or a quart.
a quart,
Yeah.
a quart of paint.
Yeah.
And so if I want to do something a little bit differently, it's small and easy to change things around if I want to, or maintain things, repair things.
And living this tiny, we have to really fight almost every day to keep it from getting cluttered, because it's very easy to get cluttered. But here's the cool thing: if it gets cluttered and it needs to be cleaned, or if it's just time for a cleaning, we just go and we're done.
Yeah, it's really not hard to vacuum this floor. It is not difficult to go through and just give a thorough cleaning because it's such a small area.
Yeah.
Now it may be easier to clean, but we just have to be not cluttered. We have to be.
Right.
And but then it's not difficult then to square things back away, and so that's easier than it used to be in my big houses.
Yeah, we can clean it, especially a deep spring cleaning or something like that, in a fraction of the time that it would take for a large house.
Sure, just because there's not much here.
Right,
It's small.
So
And I was laughing when Bill and I were talking about this, that for many, many years of my life I certainly had what I needed, but there wasn't much like extra, and I have not tended to be somebody that would just spend money very readily. And we'll be talking more about this, but we are now have a little bit more just ready cash that it would be okay to spend. And I just have to laugh. I'll be somewhere in a store and I'll think, oh, it's so pretty, I love it. And now that I could maybe have the money to afford it, I don't have anywhere to put it. And so that's actually good, healthy for me, because then if I really would enjoy something or I feel like I really need it, I have to think about where can I put that and what can I get rid of. And so I don't know, it just has kept that in perspective. So now it's not so much the money, but it's the space. And I just have to laugh at myself because I don't know if I'll ever get an opportunity to get to be extravagant.
Right.
And that's okay. That's good. It's good for me.
So now let's talk about the main point, which is basically money, expenses. This is one of the main reasons that we're continuing to live tiny. Not that we can't afford it to live bigger, because we can. But also not to say, oh, we got all this money now. We just have an average income, just like everybody else. We're
Right.
certainly not, rolling in the dough or anything.
Oh, goodness, no.
But we have fought for many years to get debt free. We are now totally debt free.
Absolutely.
We don't owe a dime to anyone. The only expenses that we pay on a monthly basis are the ongoing expenses like utilities, cell phone, car insurance, things like that are not debts. They're ongoing monthly expenses, living expenses.
And I'll figure that I'm going to have a little bit of medical expenses, but I just generally pay them as they come up.
But we don't have any debt at all. So what does that allow us to do? Well, the average mortgage in this area is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,200.
Yeah, that would be, principal, interest, tax, and insurance,
Yep,
about
and
$1,200.
And then the utilities on that would be considerably more expensive than in the little place that we're here. So we're talking maybe, even with the increase in the utilities, we're talking maybe $1,400 a month that we are not spending. Also, the other big expense that everybody has besides their mortgage or their rent is car payments. There's basically three ways you can buy a car. You can save up enough money until you have the money to go buy it cash. Or you can get a loan, a mortgage.
Yeah.
You can get a loan, so you're making monthly payments.
Or people lease them, which means they're not owning it, they're just renting.
It's still a monthly payment.
Still a monthly payment.
Whether you buy it or lease it, it's still
Right.
a monthly payment. Or you can go buy a junker and drive something that you're afraid isn't going to get you home every time you go to the grocery store.
Which is going to involve a lot of repairing.
Right. So, by us living here where we have no debt, we can take that $1,400 or so every month that we would have been spending on mortgage and extra utilities, and that's basically just money that's free and clear for us that has been added to our discretionary income every month. So that means now that we don't make a car payment. Well, actually, we do make a car payment every single month,
We're very committed to that.
but we just pay it into our savings account,
That's
not to the bank.
In fact, I have a column, a car count column on my spreadsheet for money I save toward vehicle expenses every single month.
Now, here's the cool thing about that. As that money accumulates, we have the money that we need for any car repairs. If we have some kind of a major car repair, we don't have to worry about it because the money's in the bank to take care of that. And then when it's time to actually replace a car, we have the cash that we need to go out and buy a car. Now, we don't buy a new car.
Nope, we don't
We
need
buy
to.
a new to us car.
Right, right, but we'll be in a position to get a good new to us car.
Right.
We were thrilled, honestly, with the truck and the car that we have now. The car had 64,000 miles on it, and the truck has 72, something like that.
Yeah, and the car is an 03. It had 64,000. No, and the truck also had about the same.
Oh, okay, about 60. Okay,
The truck is an 06 and it had about 65,000 on it. So we got very low mileage vehicles for how old they were, and
Right.
they were in great shape.
and in very good shape. And just look around, and a lot of times people will be willing to, if they realize you can pay them cash, they will try to, offer an even better price.
Right.
And so we're able just to buy them free and clear, and then still, continue to save, and then have money there so that if we need to put some repairs in or whatever, because any vehicle's going to need it at some point, minor things, new battery things, the money's in the bank, and then we're always committed to saving, so that when we do need to replace a vehicle, we've got money to do that. But the beauty of this is that, well, for one thing, we have much less car insurance costs because we don't have to go with really expensive car
We don't
insurance.
have to do full coverage. We
Right.
just do liability.
And the other is that if we do come along and there's a month where something really changes a lot, because our income will vary, and if we have a big change in our income or something big comes up, I'm not making a payment to a car company where they can come repossess the car. I'm just socking money away in the bank. So even though I'm committed to that vehicle money, because our other expenses are so low and we have not had to get a loan, I'm also free to be able to occasionally not have to put it in there if I need it desperately for something else.
Right.
So
right.
it gives the freedom to me. So not only am I not required to make these payments, but I'm not paying interest at all. And it's wonderful not paying interest on anything.
Another thing too is that we have that car fund that we never touch for the car, but if we had some sort of real serious emergency,
Yeah.
we would have that money to draw down on to pay for some serious financial emergency.
Right. That in a lot of ways, years ago, there would have been a credit card.
Right.
And then that just, it just adds up and sneaks up on you so much.
So, by living tiny, we have eliminated our mortgage,
Yeah.
which has allowed us to save the money that we need to eliminate car payments. And so now we are living simple, and we are living free from the bondage of debt.
Yeah, and even just expenses that I do have with the household, because the place is small. My insurance is, my taxes are very small. In other words, all of that is reflected in just not costing as much, Right. So, yeah.
And so, can we afford to go out and buy a house now? Yes, we can. If we did, and if we got a 30-year mortgage on it, which is pretty much the standard, I'm 62, it wouldn't be paid off until I was 92. Basically, I would be house poor. I wouldn't be able to do any of the things that we really want to do, and I would be working until the day I die to pay that mortgage. For what? To give it to our kids.
Well, and even if we got a 15-year, which would be much more expensive.
Yeah. Then I would still be 77 by the time it was paid off, and I don't want to work that long. I don't want to be forced into that.
Right.
So,
No, we're certainly not at a good point in our life to get bound up in something that long of a commitment.
right. So, with an average income that we've got, we could go out and afford to buy an average house and an average car with car payments and stuff like that. But by not doing that, we have this extra cash that will now allow us to save, to invest, to save towards our retirement, and also to travel,
Right.
to play.
Well, and everything costs less if you're upfront with the money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in a position now to be able to save toward things. So when my taxes come due for my little house, I pay them when you get the benefit,
Property taxes.
the property taxes.
Yeah.
I pay them when you get the discount because I've already got the money socked away. So it starts to it's like this wonderful circle going in the right direction. Everything costs less, which gives us more to work with. And so,
And we got interest working for us instead of against us.
yes, not interest is on our benefiting us,
Right.
and
Instead of paying it out.
yeah, and so, and then just like you said, the freedom, because we've said this before, but life really doesn't consist of possessions; it consists of relationships and experiences.
Right.
And just knowing, because now with the way we've got things set up to be able to work from home, the businesses that we're doing, we can work from the road or from home. There was the freedom to go out and be with my mom for those couple of weeks, and Bill could go with me. We've got a lot of things that we're hoping to be able to do. Some of them for fun, others because we need to be able to do it. And we've got the freedom to be able to do that. And if we have to buy plane tickets, I've always got money socked away. So
we've just made several trips, and we've got at least 3 more coming up in the next 3 months.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have been able to do any of that if we were paying a mortgage.
And things like I really needed to be out there with my mom, and just it's wonderful to be able to do the things that we need to do. And then goodness, we saved up and bought that cottage, that RV, cold
The
cash.
travel trailer, yeah.
Absolute cash.
Yeah.
And
we couldn't do that if we were paying a mortgage.
right. And so that's all paid for, and we got the truck in good shape, and so not only can we go places because people need us for something or we've got business things to do, but we can really travel around. And it's all I've got the money ahead, and so I don't want to end up with any big debts hanging over our head anymore, because this is wonderful to know that if I need to pay for something, I've got the money saved for it, and if we need to go somewhere, if we got to buy plane tickets, we can do it. You know, I'm so grateful.
So, why do we live tiny? This is why we live tiny, so we have the freedom to do what we want instead of being in bondage to debt. Live simple, live free. That's what we're doing.
Right.
You know. So we really recommend or encourage downsizing if you're in a place where you can do that. That doesn't mean live in 250 square
No,
feet like
doesn't
we
mean,
do.
yeah. We
That
didn't,
means
we
if-
didn't mean to end up here, but we're glad we did.
That means if you've got a 3,000 square foot house with 5 bedrooms and you're only using 2 of them, it could be that you've got enough equity in there that you can sell it and buy a smaller 3-bedroom ranch for cash because you had so much equity in your bigger house. And then you still got 1 extra bedroom, and then you have the freedom to not be saddled down with that mortgage all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so living simple is just better all the way around. It gives us more freedom, less stress, you know, more time to play, more ability to just take off for a weekend and go to a hotel for, you know, to go to some site that you wanted to see or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, Bill's not retired. We're still
No,
working.
no.
But we're working under our terms and able to go and be someplace if we need to be and still get the work done. And put the time in to get our videos done and all that kind of stuff. But we're just, you know, we've gotten our expenses down to the point where there is an ability to have some money to do other things. And I love it. I love it.
So, once again, why are we living tiny? It's not because we can't afford to buy something bigger. It's a matter of choice. We have chosen to live this way. It's a matter of priorities. Where are your financial priorities? If you want a big house and a nice yard and all that, and it makes you happy, by all means do that.
Oh, sure. Everybody's got different needs. Absolutely.
But that's not our priority. Our priority is to be able to travel and see the world and travel to see family and, you know, like she says, experiences and relationships. That's where our priority is. And by living tiny, it allows us to meet those goals and priorities in our life.
Well, and you know, and we're realistic. When we had children and all that stuff going on, this would not have been possible.
Right.
You know, it's just the two of us now. I wish I had more room for company. But there's ways that you can get together with people that, you know, you still can do it. And so, yeah, there's challenges, which is a whole other video. But you know, just the fact that I can, you know, I can afford to go down and spend a couple weeks at Christmas with our son and his family, and just be down there. It's that live simple, live free thing's pretty cool.
Yep.
It is. So, okay.
So, I hope that's given you a little bit of insight into why we are still living tiny and why we are enjoying it and why we plan to continue.
I've discovered that I have everything here I need, and some of the things that I love the best, and that feels very cozy to me. You know, I just, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So, I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah. Simple little thing. We, you know, not doing anything really exciting in this video, but we just wanted to kind of answer that question.
Petting the cat, that's exciting.
Yeah, that's exciting. He's a sweet boy. He's such a lover.
So if you've enjoyed this, please like the video. That really helps us a lot. Of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, you know, go ahead and do that too.
Yep.
And well, thanks for watching.
We'll be back very soon.
You guys be blessed.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.